Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Not sure if this is the right one. Okay, freedom of movement. This is the EU. Freedom? America? No. My name's Connor, guys. If you're new, the original link to the video, top of the description. Let's go. What does freedom of movement mean?
Has profoundly shaped my life. When I was 18 and I found the things I wanted to study were in Italy and in the UK, eventually I was able to pursue that. When then in London I met a person I fell in love with, I was able to pursue him when I found out he lived in Amsterdam. When we found the things we wanted to work with in London, we were both able to come and live here. So it's everything, I would say, my current family, my friendships, my job, my education are consequences of me being able to enjoy the freedom of movement.
Until some years ago, only the rich and the powerful were able to freely move around and be with whoever they wanted, work whatever they wanted. Now that freedom has become part of something that common people can do. So everybody can freely move and they don't have to ask for permission. So it's that control that was there before now has disappeared, and it's about the people, really. We've gone a lot more about that democracy, the power to the people, let's say.
I think that for my generation, it is really completely natural. I think it's hard for us to imagine what it would be like if we didn't have that, if we didn't have the ability to jump on a plane and go for a city break somewhere in one of the European cities, if we didn't have the option to study in another country if we chose to do so, and if we didn't have the ability to choose to work somewhere else and gain experience in another European country.
With free movement, you're able to have a lot more diverse population. You have a lot more multilingual people that can contribute to society, to the arts, to employment. You have people who are coming here who can contribute to an increasingly diverse society, diverse economy, and I think that's very, very rich.
I think it's just the simple freedom to be able to go to different countries, to travel, to work, study, live.
I think the freedom of movement...
So no passport. No passport. So it's actually easier to travel from the, I don't know, Denmark to Italy than it is to go from like where I am to Canada or something. Because even I need a passport to go to Canada.
To work, study, live.
I think the freedom of movement gives us security. The fact that we have Europeans in different European countries at the moment, and the fact that we are so intertwined gives us the security. It means that we need to work together, and it means that the governments of the various European countries must work together as well to resolve any potential problems that we have together.
We have to remember that that's why the EU was created, because we've had war in the continent for most of our history, and the fact that we have become interdependent, interconnected, that means that, and we've grown into the understanding of each other, that we've kind of ensured that there is not going to be war because it's not good for any of us.
Obviously, EU migrants also pay tax. They pay into the welfare system and make it richer.
There was a study that showed that for each £1.30 that EU migrants contribute in taxes, they only take in about £1 in terms of the services and so forth.
I think British people would lose the same thing that I would lose in principle, and they would lose the opportunity to be able to pursue perhaps the studies that they want to pursue that happen to be somewhere else. In the same way, if they meet someone and fall in love, they might not be able to pursue that, or they might still insist on pursuing it, but it would definitely be much more difficult.
I mean, are British people ready to give up a right that they've earned and that they can use if they want to? I mean, I understand not everybody necessarily wants to go and live in a different country, but they can, and their children will be able to do it. And losing such a right, which is such a great step we've taken towards that democracy towards equality, it would be such a big mistake.
The freedom of movement will happen regardless of whether the UK remains in Europe or not. It will be something that will happen because it needs to happen. The UK is an international business centre. It requires the skills that Europeans has to offer. It needs those to prosper and to be the great country that it is.
If there would be one thing I could say to the people of Britain about free movement, that would be don't give it up. It's your right. It's about opportunities. It's your chance to have a new life anywhere else. It's your chance to meet your soulmate and be able to have a great relationship in 28 countries. Just don't give up that opportunity.
Such a polarizing. I don't. The thing I hate most about polarizing topics, where people are so entrenched and they get high emotions when talking about something like Brexit or about elections over here, is that a lot of the stuff that it's like, I always, believe I'm not European, I'm not British, I'm American over here, so I never want to tell another country. A country should be able to weigh its options, and if I'm never worried about England or Britain. You're an incredibly capable country. But when things get so polarized, some stuff like this is never kind of talked about in a calm way. And again, I'm not going to insert myself or my opinions about it. To be honest, I can't insert myself because I don't know enough about being British or being European to really say whether it was a bad move or not. But the freedom of movement aspect is something I never thought about. And I think it takes a video like this to talk about it calmly and without resentment and be like, rather than like, just be like, think about what you're giving up in this aspect. And if you still, the majority of the population, when you vote, decides to leave, as you did, then that's your right? No country should be, ruled by minority. Electoral college over here. Again, I feel like this is made a lot of good points, and I didn't realize how something like the freedom of movement would be such a loss in getting out of the EU. So again, I don't want to insert, I don't care if you're pro Brexit or against Brexit, pro EU, against EU, whatever. It's not my business. Yeah, I don't know. You can do it. We can't even go to Canada like you can do this. I don't live very far from Canada. I know this is another thing, is that Europe is a bunch of countries about the size of our states over here. And Europe is about the size of the United States. I know when you count in Russia west of the Urals, Europe is probably a little bigger. And much bigger in population. But having to stay in a state and not being able to freely go to Massachusetts like I always do, or Connecticut or New York, not being able to do that would really, or if not unable to do that, at least have some barriers to going through and traveling there, would be very much of a bad thing. So wherever you are in the topic, I want to stress, it's not my business, but very good points made in this video, I'd say. Really interesting. Spur of the moment video. I love these. Sometimes they're the best videos. Love you all. Hope you guys are all doing well. Would appreciate any comments. and hopefully I'll see you guys next video. Bye.